Welcome to another edition of Our City. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. On Wednesday, August 31st at 10 o'clock in the morning, Dr. Dawood Farahi, the president of Kean University, will give his opening a day address to the students and the faculty. This address is located at 1000 Morris Avenue in Union, for all of you that may want to attend. And as a reminder, Monday, September 5th, City Hall will be closed in honor of Labor Day. If you need any information concerning any events going around City Hall or the City of Elizabeth, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. Please stay with us after these messages, where I'll be joined by Mark Colicchio, the health officer in the City of Elizabeth.
We're creating tomorrow's jobs today. Kean University.
Welcome back to Our City, where I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Mark Colicchio, who is the health officer here in the City of Elizabeth. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayor. How are you doing?
Good. So you've been with the city for a few years now. Tell us about this.
Well, I've been with the city. I actually started in 1989, and then it's like I left to pursue other opportunities, and then I actually came back in 2012 as the assistant health officer, working under John Serame, and then in 2014 I became the health officer for the city.
So you've been employed in government now for 20-some years.
24 years.
It's a long time, isn't it, Mark?
Yes.
What did you do in '89 when you first came there?
Well, I was a phys ed teacher at St. Patrick's High School. After graduating St. Peter's College, St. Peter's University now, it was a major in history. And then working in the health department, I liked it so much, I went back to school to get my license as a registered environmental health specialist, and then on for my master's degree in health administration with a concentration of public health, and received my health officer license.
Good for you. Well, good to have you. So
thank you.
We're here to talk a little bit about the animal control program.
Okay.
And then we can get into some of the health services if we have time. But the animal control program, what services do we provide at the animal control program?
Well, our animal control program, they provide a vast array of services. They will do patrolling and monitoring, and for stray animals, animals that are in distress, sick or hurt, and then impound them. We respond 24 hours a day to routine and emergency complaints relating to animal control. Besides that, they investigate animal bites, and they do disease control. I mean, animals suspected of having rabies. I mean, we deal with issues like that. We have an animal shelter that's located at 518 Trenton Avenue. That's open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're there. We do adoptions. We work with various rescues. We work with at least 50 different rescues to make sure that any animal that can be is either adopted or placed.
And the animal control program in the City of Elizabeth, it's staffed how many people during those hours?
During those hours, varied hours, we have a supervising animal control officer, Lamar Britt-Grady, and under him we have 4 animal control officers. We have a part-time veterinarian that comes in, and then our newest addition, we have an animal evaluator. What she does is that she does public relations work when it comes to rescues, and she also evaluates every animal that comes in, one, to see if they're suited for adoption, and most importantly, if they're suited for adoption, we want to make sure that they're matched up with the right person and family.
That must be difficult at times. Is there an interview process and things like that?
Yes, there's an application that has to be filled out. There's definitely an interview process where the animal control officer or our evaluator will ask certain questions, such as, are you planning to breed the animal? So we want to make sure that these animals are not placed into the wrong hands. So we often get people that want to do what we call backyard breeding, where they want to breed the animals on their own and then sell them, and that's not the proper way to do it.
So Mark, tell us about the extreme heat we had during the last couple of weeks in August, as well as we're approaching winter where there'll be some extreme cold winter. What is the advice for pet owners and how best to take care of their pets during extreme weather swings?
During extreme weather swings, the first thing we want to do is you never ever want to leave your pet in a car alone in extreme heat and extreme cold. I mean, secondly, too, you want to limit the amount of exercise that you give dogs on a hot day. All right, we want to provide ample shade and water. And we just about dogs in general that I've learned. Dogs, they don't have the type of sweat glands that humans have where we can just perspirate. Animals, the only way they can perspirate is through panting. And just imagine yourself wearing like a heavy winter fur coat and then having to be outside in this past heat. And that's pretty much what a dog or other animals go through out there. All right, we want to keep our pets as cool as we possibly can. And if they're overheated, move them immediately to a cooler place. One of the ways you could see that they're overheated is excess panting. So, and if there's an emergency or if they're in extreme distress, get them to a veterinarian or an emergency animal hospital right away.
And do you think the homeowners know when they're in immediate distress?
I think that in some cases they do, but a lot of times that we tend to provide education on that.
Okay. The anti-tethering ordinance that we've just adopted, City Council was passed. Tell us the importance of the anti-tethering law as well as the reasons it was passed in the City of Elizabeth.
Sure. The importance of that law is, again, to protect the animal from extreme heat, to protect the animal from being tied, from choking. We've been getting a lot of complaints before this regulation was passed that we would go out to properties and the animals would be out in extreme heat. They would be tied up on very short chains on choke collars. They would be tied up around trees, vehicles. So a law had to be passed to protect the animal. So what council did was they passed something called the Anti Tethering Law, which this is a law in two parts. The first part has to deal with how animals have to be tied up or restrained. They can't be restrained with a choke collar. They have to be restrained on a chain and able to move freely, turn around, have access to their water and shelter. The second part has to do with animals being out in extreme conditions. By extreme heat and extreme cold, we're talking about temperatures over 90 degrees, and we're talking about temperatures below 32 degrees would be defined as extreme cold. The reason for extreme heat is you can imagine how hot surfaces are. When you go down the shore, for example, you're walking barefooted on hot surfaces. Animals go through the same thing. They have that same feeling. And the reason why we limit it to below 32 degrees, water freezes at 32 degrees. So if they're out there in the extreme cold, they can't have access to water because it's a frozen block.
So the anti-tethering ordinance, we were also getting complaints about some people will tie up a dog and leave them in essence protecting their property or protecting their yards, and they can't run far. But there was one case where they were actually a little doghouse where the snow covered the entrance to the doghouse.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that this past winter it happened. That case was actually one of the reasons for council to pass that ordinance, because laws can be like so vague that sometimes you need actually specific details in a law for us to be able to enforce.
And that's what we did with the tethering law.
Yes.
So tell us about a homeowner or a person who owns a dog or a cat or some other animal, and they no longer can maintain that animal. Do we look to adopt? Can they turn it in? What happens in that case? We have what we call a surrender policy. Residents can turn in their animals, can surrender them. And what happens is the surrender day is usually done on Thursday mornings, because that's the day when the veterinarian comes down to routinely check the animal. This way, once the animal is surrendered, the animal can be immediately evaluated by a veterinarian, and we have the temperament tester, the evaluator, in, and she can come right in and evaluate the animal, so that we can get that animal placed. And then the purpose of all of that is to place the animal in another home.
That's correct, or with a rescue.
And we're successful at that?
Yes, we are. So far, I mean, over the past year, out of every 9 animals, that's dogs and cats that have come into our shelter, 8 of them have either been adopted or have been placed into rescue.
It's a pretty good record.
Thank you, and I'm very proud of my animal control program for achieving this. They work very hard.
So, since we talked about surrendering, what happens if there's a neglected dog or a very, very ill animal and brought to the shelter, or it's still in somebody's yard? What do you do? Do you call somebody?
Well, very ill animals, animals that are extremely ill, we will pick up and we will take to an emergency veterinary hospital. All right, if our vet isn't there and emergency care is needed. In regards to abused and neglected animals, we have a collaboration with the New Jersey SPCA, where they come in, they actually have the statutory authority to place animal owners for cruelty under arrest and to issue various summonses and violations and take the animal if need be.
And so we get calls all the time for stray dogs.
Yes.
Or stray cats. Is that a possibility?
Yes. Oh, yes.
What's the process to deal with that?
Sure. The process is when we get a complaint, we will go out on it, and if we see an animal that is stray, we will either trap it, or we will either catch it and have it impounded at the shelter. That animal has to be held. That animal is held for 7 days, giving the owner of the animal a chance to come in and reclaim it. If the 7 days passes, then what we do is that's when we do everything in our power, where we get rescues involved and we do everything we can to get that animal placed.
So the phone number of the shelter, if somebody needs these services, where do they call?
They can call area code 908-820-4242. And after hours, after 5 o'clock, you may call the Elizabeth Police Department at 908-558-2111.
So, Mark, we hear an awful lot about animals that have issues. How do we deal with the phone calls that come in and the response time? How good is it?
Our response time, I have to say, is very good, especially working with our evaluator, Darcy DiCastillo, and our animal rescue team. For some reason, they sometimes get the information before the police even gets it, but we respond right away. Within 5 minutes, we're out at that location.
And Mark, the issue of dealing with stray dogs and stray cats, and there's an attempt by the county to possibly do a county-wide shelter. Are you involved in that at all? Are you going to meetings or anything? No.
No, I haven't been involved in that at all. But I mean, it can be a good idea, because you have a lot of small municipalities in Union County that really can collaborate to form their own animal shelter. I mean, it might be a way to even save money too. A city this large, we have more than enough work to maintain our own animal shelter.
Mark, I want to thank you for being on the first segment of the show. I know you're staying here with us for the second half, where we're going to be joined by Miss Debbie Harrison, a dental assistant, talking about public health nursing in the dental clinics that we have throughout the city. Please stay with us after these messages. We're back with Mark Colicchio and Miss Debbie Harrison.
We're an American original, dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started. Welcome back to our city, where I'm pleased to be rejoined by Mark Colicchio, our health officer, and also joining us is Miss Debbie Harrison, a dental assistant. Debbie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
Good. How long are you with the dental program now?
Now 11 years.
And you take care of all these little kids?
Yes. It's an amazing job. to help the children. I love this job because now they're not going to be like us. That's the favorite place for them to be. All of the kids want to come to the dentist. You're going to pull out my tooth? I was like, you're not supposed to want that, but they do. It's helpful to the parents. It's such an amazing program, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
The program's helpful to the parents, not pulling out the tooth, right? I just want to make sure.
Well, it helps the kids too, you know.
So the services provided by the dental clinics, first of all, Mark, where are they located, the dental clinics? How many do we have?
We have 2 dental clinics. One is located at School 1/School 8, located at 250 Broadway. And the other one is located at Peterstown School number 3, located at 700 2nd Ave.
And Debbie, do you work in them both?
No, I work in the one, George Washington School, number 1. There's 2 doctors there, and I assist them, and I run the daily operation.
And what time are we open from, Debbie, down there?
The clinic actually opens at 8, and the doctors are there by 9. The last patient comes in at 12. We do emergencies, walk-ins, but we have a bus that comes to the school, 2 buses to School 1.
And are we there during the summer or just the winter?
No, just September to June.
With the school kids?
Yes, with the students.
And how many, what are the ages of the children that we serve there?
The clinic treat kindergarten to 12th grade, but we have a program where we go in and visit the preschoolers to get them prepared for kindergarten when it's their turn to come in, and to make them more comfortable, because the students actually come without their parents. They're welcome to come with the parents. The parents can walk them in, or we'll give them the date that the student will be treated so the parent can come in, but they actually come by themselves.
So are there appointments for these kids? Or
Yeah, each school gets about 4 weeks. They're picked up at the school. It's amazing because they come with their friends. So, it's kind of a cool thing. Everybody wants to come. Oh, what did you get? It's really nice to watch. I come from mainstream dentistry. So to watch this unfold has been so cool for me,
So the kids come with their friends and they enjoy sitting in the dentist chair?
Exactly.
They got to be the only kids that enjoy that.
It's crazy. The nurses, I work closely with the nurses, so they ask me all the time, what are you doing to the kids? I went, I don't know, because I've never wanted to go to the dentist. I've always been anxious.
I don't want to go
about
now.
Yes. But yeah, they go, when are you going to call me? It's really cool.
So how often does a child visit, or how can they visit?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we give out cards. Every student gets one. Some have their own dentist. We start with the checkup and the cleaning to come up with a treatment plan. So the visits vary depending on what you need. We do a lot of preventive dentistry to the point where the students don't need the dentist as regular as we did, because we're sealing their teeth, cleaning them twice a year, and they're becoming very friendly to the dentist, so they know what to eat, what not to eat.
You give them instructions on
All the time.
staying away from sugar?
All the time.
Yeah. So Mark, talk to us a little bit about the health division and exactly what they do, and we're going to come back to some of the dentistry questions.
Okay.
How the health division is broken up in different areas as well.
Yes, the health division is broken into different areas. The first segment I'll talk about is the environmental health program. The environmental health program consists of inspecting. One of the things they do is they inspect all 900 of our retail food establishments once a year. They're done by licensed registered environmental health specialists that have went to school and have a board license. Also inspected are all of our summer youth camps, our recreational bathing facilities. They're inspected. We also do various environmental surveys, air and noise pollution. We do a lot of that. And we investigate a lot of various public health complaints that come in. Then we have our housing program, housing division, where they do various complaints dealing with quality of life issues. In fact, they're working on a summer project now due to Zika and due to all the mosquito-borne viruses and diseases that are out there. We actually have special patrols that go out. They patrol for things like high grass. They patrol for things like standing water, anything that can aid in the breeding of mosquitoes. We also work very closely with Union County Mosquito Control and aggressively spraying areas that are more prone.
So the health division covers a few areas. The complaints that we get would deal with high grass, high weeds, health issues, garbage, right?
Garbage, debris, unsanitary conditions in houses, illegal conversions. I mean, they're dealt with. I mean, it's a whole array of stuff. I mean, new stuff is actually being called in almost every single day. Just when you think you've caught up to everything, something new always arises.
And in a lot of cases, if the homeowner doesn't cooperate, then we have to issue a summons.
Yes, but we give every ample opportunity for the landlords and homeowners to comply. For example, high grass, we have green placards, green cards that are put on door knockers. They're placed on the person's door, and it gives them 10 days to cut the grass.
So, Mark, you know, you mentioned the Zika virus. We did a brochure to every resident in Elizabeth, and especially to notify those women who are planning or are in pregnancy what to expect and what to stay away from.
Yes.
Do you think the brochure was well received, and how do we follow up on it?
I think the brochure was very well received. I mean, I think people were, educated. Hopefully, some of their fears were calmed by it. And you know what? Overall in the city, people are doing very, very well with preventing the breeding of mosquitoes, and they know they're free to call our health department at any time if they have any questions or concerns about overseas travel, or right now even traveling into Florida.
Now, Mark, you've been part of many conference calls with both state and federal officials on the Zika virus. Tell us about some of those conference calls.
Well, the conference calls, they give basic updates. They give basic updates on what's going on. They're talking about now, I guess, some of the cases in Florida where the mosquitoes, which we've all predicted, were eventually going to come into areas of the United States. That was just a matter of time. So, as public health, we can't keep disease out of a community, but what public health does is we prevent that disease from spreading, which is why we're really pursuing education, which is why we have our inspectors going out and patrolling. We have all of our tire shops that are inspected by our environmental inspector for cleanliness, for standing water issues. So the city of Elizabeth has been aggressively putting in public health prevention and distributing materials to educate our residents.
Debbie, I want to come back to you about dental services in a dental clinic. Are there any requirements for the young people to be eligible for the services at the dental clinic?
Well, we require parent permission, and they have to also fill out a medical history. Like in any dentist office, it's ran exactly as if you were going to a private dentist office.
Do the parents need to bring that documentation with them, or the kids bring it with them from school that day?
We work through the nurses. The nurses put the documents out for the students to bring back. And when it's their week to come in, the nurses send that document with them.
Debbie mentioned the nurses. We also have a division of public health nurses in this city. Talk to us a little bit about the services the public health nurses provide.
Sure. Our public health nursing, for one of the things they do is they investigate all communicable diseases that come into the city. We provide school nursing services for non-public schools, where we send a nurse to provide those services. We also have various clinics. We have child and adult vaccination clinics. We have our free STD clinic, which is open to all Union County residents except for those residents that live in Plainfield, Berkeley Heights, and Springfield.
Why they go elsewhere?
They go elsewhere. Yes, we have an interlocal agreement with the rest of the town to provide these services.
Okay, and the STD notifications are all kept confidential?
Yes, they are. Along with all of our clinics, everything is kept confidential.
So, can anyone visit the clinics besides those three towns? Anybody?
Well, the STD clinic, again, I mean, any Union County resident, with the exception of the towns mentioned.
What about immunization and things like that?
Immunization, you would have to come in and have no insurance. If you have insurance, then it doesn't make you eligible. You have to have no insurance.
And if you're an Elizabeth resident, you can get immunized for the childhood
Yes.
flu.
Childhood, any of the childhood immunizations, your measles, mumps, rubella, influenza.
How do we do with the flu season when we give out shots? We get them all over. You don't give them out, do you, Debbie?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now, flu shots, what happens is clinics are scheduled, and that is open free to Elizabeth residents, any Elizabeth resident.
Now, last question, Mark. What are we doing to publicize or promote public health in the city in the future? Anything coming up?
Yes, on October 1st, we have our annual breast cancer awareness walk at Kellogg Field. The walk starts at 1 o'clock. Registration is from 12 to 1. And I believe it's October 29th, we have a Gateway YMCA, a spin class with promoting awareness for breast cancer.
Mark, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show and talking about public health issues in the city of Elizabeth, as well as the dog warden. That's always a difficult subject to deal with.
Yes.
And we thank you for bringing that to our attention. Thank you.
Anytime.
And Debbie, thank you very much for sharing the stories about the dental clinic and the young people. I got a kick out of the kids just wanting to go there. But the kids just want to go, huh?
Oh my God.
I got to meet some of these
out of
kids.
there.
I got to meet some of these kids. It sounds like fun. They just want to be there. But thank you for taking the time to join us on the show.
You too, Mayor.
I want to thank Miss Debbie Harrison as well as Mr. Mark Colicchio, and we'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.
Where will the next generation of scientists come from? Right here. Kane University.